Annyeong, it's Mikey here, and guys, thank you so much for all the support and just seeing how far this channel's come. I'm really hoping that I can really bring you guys better content, of course, and of course, grow this channel even bigger. And I really thank you guys for all the support. Now, today I do want to thank Mechlans because Mechlans actually sent me out the new, well, kind of new, Aula X Epomaker F108. Now this is a full-size keyboard. Sorry, I had the box backwards, but this is a full-size board, like not even 98%, but a full-size keyboard. So this is the first one I'm actually reviewing that is full-size. So let's go straight into unboxing, take a look, and please make sure to like and subscribe. So starting off with the unboxing of the Aula X Epomaker F108. Now this is a full-size board. Thank you again, Mechlans, for sending me this out because I really did want to try it out. This looked really interesting. I've saw like some good reviews about it as well, and of course I have to try it out myself as well. Now this thing comes with a manual that's just like all Epomakers. You do get this little area where you get the cable and like accessories. Very basic cable, honestly. You're not going to get something fancy. You get a basic switch pillar keycap puller, and you do get some extra switches, which is nice to see. I think every company really should be providing extra switches because at the end of the day, you never know which one's going to break when, and it would be nice to actually have the extra switches. Now, of course, taking a look at the board itself. And the one thing I noticed was this thing looks huge. I haven't used a full-size board in a very, very long time, and this thing is big. Like, it takes too much space on my desk. And this thing comes with everything. You guys see like how it has the screen. Oh, and whoops, I threw away the volume knob for a moment there. But we put the volume knob back on. And as you can see here, this thing literally comes with everything. You get wireless, you get a screen, you get a volume knob, you get the numpad. You also get the different angles that you can use on the board. And honestly, this board looks quite nice as well. Of course, we're going to have to weigh it before we go into a sound test. So let's see how much this thing weighs. And it's going to weigh a total of 1.2 kg. So now that we've done the sound test, we do have to do a teardown. Now, this thing takes up so much space, as you can see on the desk, that you can really see how I'm working on this thing. The spaces around. I really couldn't get the camera angle to really catch everything without really doing all, like, you can see the bottom table there. This one wasn't too difficult to open up, though. One thing I noticed was that it was really easy. I really appreciate that they made it simple. The latches really came off very easily. Some plastic boards, it's really, really difficult to take off, and this one was super, super easy. Now, of course, measuring the sides, right, we get 2.9, 2.4, 2.6 on the left and right sides. This thing, the top gasket, like the top casing, is really not super thick, but not too thin either. Now, You do have to remove the ribbon cables for the screen and the volume knob, and the data cable for like the ribbon cable that connects to the PCB. You actually shouldn't remove it from the PCB. Try to remove it from the case itself, just because it is a little bit easier to do. Now, one thing I forgot to show you guys a little bit earlier was actually looking at, is it a flex cut or not? And yes, it is. This is a flex cut PC plate. So for those that don't like flex cuts, I'm sorry, this one is a flex cut case, or sorry, plate. And as you can see here with the stabilizers, it is a plate mounted stabilizer. It does come pre-lubed, not like a ton of lube, but you can definitely see it once you look inside. Sorry, my camera is really not able to catch the exact lubing, but it does come pre-lubed. And the gasket mounting, as you can see there, those black pieces are actually from the plastic a little bit while I was trying to get it open. And I want to show you guys, of course, the back of the PCB as well, just to see, is it a flex cut PCB or not? So I'm going to have to remove the back foam. It is taped on completely. But yes, it is a flex cut PCB as well. So we're looking at both a flex cut plate and a flex cut PCB. And of course, measuring it out, we have 1.2 millimeters for the plate and the 1.2 millimeters for the PCB. This is very, very, like I would say most boards nowadays are doing this. I would love to see more boards, like pre-built ones, not do flex cut or offer two different versions. It would be nice. And as you can see here, it is gasket mounted. You do have those socks that go on, and it will actually go inside the bottom case, and it helps with the dampening a little bit, specifically the vibrations around the case. Now, it is an 8,000 milliamp hour battery, so you are getting a very, very large battery in this, which is really nice to have, of course, on a large board like this, and all the space is being used. Of course, on the bottom, you do have the silicone. So they did fill up the bottom with silicone, which I think a lot of budget boards really do. And as you can see here, the back of the PCB also gets a pretty thick foam. I would say it is pretty average, but yes, you do get the foam on the back. And of course, I'm going to have to do a tape mod. I'm going to do 2 layers just to kind of give you guys a difference between the two. And then you can hear the sound test as well. And one more thing, the spacebar does have a lot of hollow sounding. I think it's just the size of the spacebar and like how it was made. So I tried putting 1 layer of tape inside it first. I thought it didn't need too much because like the spacebar didn't sound horrible, just a little bit hollow. But I realized that 1 won't do, and you actually will require about 2, maybe even 3. Something thicker would help a lot more. And then, of course, we're going to do the modded sound test of the Aula F108 Pro. Now, we've done the sound test, unboxing, and of course the modifications of this board. Honestly, the whole F series, like I did the F65, I believe, the last time. They make really good budget boards, like very good sounding. Really, right out of the box, you will get a great sounding board. Honestly, I think that for the price of what you're paying, like they do a great job in terms of just making it really, really nice in terms of the sound. In terms of gaming performance too, we're gonna have to, of course, go a little bit more into depth with like, you know, the whole switches and everything inside of this box. But I would say in total, lubing the switches is worth it. I personally think that lubing any of the switches that you get with the Aula series boards is worth doing. It makes a big difference in terms of the typing feel. It will feel a lot smoother, and in terms of the sound as well, you'll get a much more thocky board. In terms of modifications, you don't have to do them. I think they already sound really great without the mods, but if you want to have a little bit more dampening and you do plan to use this for like work or at work, though this seems really big to carry, I would say you can do the mods. Now, of course, let's go straight into taking a little bit more in depth of this board and my review and my thoughts. So let's get right into that. So going in a little bit more depth with this board, the plastic on this board is actually not bad. I would say it's not a super cheap plastic. It's not the most highest quality plastic, but it's still definitely not a super cheap plastic. I've definitely had my share of like very cheap ones. This one definitely feels a little bit better. And I would say in total, like how this board was built was quite well done. You do have like the switch for on and off. So you do have to use function keys to actually change between say like wireless, Bluetooth, and then wired. So keep in mind that for yourselves. That knob, let you hear it. So it actually sounds a lot like a mouse wheel, and it actually helps you control the screen itself. So I thought it was a volume knob, but it actually helps you manage the screen. And then I'm not sure if you can actually change it to the volume knob later on, but we'll take a look later. Now, of course, this is showing you guys a 65% compared to this board, how much space this thing takes up, and of course a TKL. Now, as you can see, even this TKL, it's a TKL, and this full-size board just monsters over it, right? Like you can see here kind of how the measurements line up with the boards and kind of give you a good an idea. It's, do you really need a full size, or are you okay with something a little bit less? Of course, it depends on if you need a numpad or not, and depending on your work. It is appreciated that it does have like the angles, and the highest angle, I would say you really don't kind of need a wrist rest, but of course a wrist rest does kind of help a little bit, and it's appreciated that they do have that all. Honestly, this board isn't really missing much. Like I'm quite surprised with how much is missing, or how much is in the board, sorry. And as you can see here, one thing to note is it does take up a lot of space on your desk. Like if you have a small desk, not going to be great to use it in terms of gaming, because your mouse is going to be constantly hitting your keyboard. The board does sound amazing though. I really do think like this sounds one of like the best Thocky in terms of like a budget board you can buy from this. It is great for working. Right, like I did feel that in terms of just pure work purposes, it was very useful. But I really don't use a numpad much for my work, so I didn't think this is like necessary for myself. But again, some people out there that do use a numpad and prefer a numpad, definitely this is something you definitely take a look at, especially if you want that full size. Some people even use like print screen, scroll, pause, like all these other keys. So just keep in mind for yourselves, depending on what your use case is, what boards to look at and the size layouts to look at. Now, of course, we're going to look at the switches itself. So this thing comes with the Reaper switch, and honestly, this Reaper switch, I've tried it also in the F65. It is a good switch. I think even stock sounds really good, like Thocky. It is a box stem, and one thing I noticed for this one as well is like you get very little stem wobble. It's really impressive in terms of that stem wobbling. Like there's switches out there that really do have heavy stem wobble. This one you're getting practically none, and you can even see it on like the actual keycap right there. Like when I'm pressing it, let me just focus in a little bit for you guys, and as you can see right there, like it's barely moving. This is something really nice, especially if you are sensitive to it, or if you're a gamer. Sometimes you're holding a key down, you don't really want it to be shaking, and it doesn't feel great when it does. So really, really great job for them to make one that has no stem wobble. Now, of course, I'm going to have to show you guys the backlighting of this board and show you guys how good is it and how bright is it. So going right into the dark, sorry guys, one thing I noticed was that due to how like the lighting in my room is, especially because of summer, the sunlight is going pretty late, I noticed that it's not really taking up a lot of light, so you can kind of see the background a little bit. Normally you wouldn't in like a really, really dark space, but as you can see, the board is quite bright. Like the lighting on this board is incredibly bright. The switches itself has a light diffuser. This thing also has lighting on the sides, which is really cool, so you'll see that lighting like come through on the side of your desk. You also have like many different choices for the lighting on this board, and it is really, really bright. Like you will see it with lighting, or even like when it's dark, the lighting will be shining through, and the switches also actually don't like affect the lighting, so you're not going to get like different kind of coloring from the switches, which is really good because certain switches out there can make the lighting a little bit different, meaning it's not accurate in terms of the actual RGB color you're looking for, and you could end up being like a white looks purple or green. This one really does it very accurately, which is super, super nice, especially if you are someone who does love RGB on their keyboard. Now, of course, going on to the website. So as you can see, this is Mechland's website. It's the Epomaker X Aula F108 Pro. So it's 90 USD. And honestly, for 90 USD, this board is a really great deal, I believe. And of course, if you have seen my videos with like Mechlands, you can use my code. I'll have it in the link in the description for you guys to get a discount. It's not going to be a large discount, but you'll still get something, which is nice. And
honestly, this board really has it all. Like there isn't really much this board is missing because you get tons of RGB, you get the numpad, you get really good sounding board. You also get the F1 keys and you have a knob, which I'm not too sure how to change it to a volume knob. There's going to be a function shortcut for that, of course. And then, of course, you have the software. Now, this software is really not great. You can find the software on Mechland's website if you scroll it down on the F108 Pro page. I don't really like the software. This is a really old software that they've been using for a while. I personally think that it does the basics, right? So it does what you need it to do, but it won't do more customization than that. And one thing I noticed for the lighting as well is that one of the lighting's settings that you can choose from, it doesn't really work. Yeah, so this one right here, it doesn't work at all. I was like, what does this change? But nope, this is a setting that you cannot touch. And I was like, huh, this is weird. This is also like the side lighting. So like this one, I thought it was the side lighting, but it's actually also the key lighting, which is like really weird that you have two key lighting portions in the software. It would have been nice if they really kind of labeled it a little bit better and then had all of the customizations available. I think this is a missed opportunity, which really makes it a little bit harder, especially if you are someone who's looking at getting this board and wants to do different customizations, right? Like I would really like to change the side colorings and, you know, be able to go in the software and make those changes and look at it, but definitely not the most optimum thing. But what can you do? Hopefully Aula can in the future kind of upgrade the software, or I would really appreciate it if they actually just went to VIA. It would be nice to see them go into VIA, just like Epomaker has been doing it too, right? I've noticed Epomaker has been slowly moving towards going back to VIA. I would appreciate it if Aula as well would switch over to VIA support. And as you can see, you do have some customization available, like your sleep mode, you know, being able to wake up the board faster and like changing the how fast it falls asleep when it's wireless, things like that. You can definitely change in the software, but I would appreciate it just if they had VIA support. Now, of course, we're going to check keyboard inspector just to check the polling rate, and this thing is going to get you 1,000 polling rate, which means you're going to have like 1 millisecond delay or like latency on it. Latency, which is completely fine for gaming. If you aren't in a competitive scene, this is more than enough to game. And I did use this for gaming and I found that it worked really well, but it does take up too much space on my desk, which I wasn't a big fan of. Honestly, my desk is pretty big too. Like I have a really large desk and I still thought this took up way too much space for me. So definitely check it out. I'll have the links in the description for you guys for this board and of course a discount code for you.
Now, in total, I think the F108, really, if you are someone who does like full-size boards, I know there's some people out there that really need it, right? This is the first time I've actually had one. It's actually so large. One of the things that I felt was like, you can feel it right here. See how it's like really taking up a lot of space. This thing is really big, and I personally wouldn't use a full-size board. That's my personal preference. I know some people really need all of these buttons up here and the numpad, everything. For those, definitely go take a look at this board. I think this is something that's worth your money. This is really a well done board. I think it's like down to like really, for a budget board, it's like perfection, a full-size perfection for budget builds in terms of people that are looking for something budget. Like this is something that's really sounds amazing, really works well for gaming, works well for those that are using for work too and other things. So go take a look at it. I'll have the links in the description for you guys, and please make sure to like and subscribe and go check out the other videos I got.